We're going to start with meditation today because I'm going to be talking about the healing power of giving and receiving. And I've experimented with this meditation with you before, but it's called Tonglen. But we're going to go deeper into it today. This is dealing with that place that we reach sometimes where something shocks us or hurts us and we shut down. And we're going to work in this Tonglen meditation to reverse that tendency to shut down, but instead to open and to embrace every experience. Okay? It's a very powerful practice, and it's a Tibetan practice, and Tonglen actually means sending and taking. So we're going to have an experience of sending and taking, and then we're going to talk about it. So if you'll center yourself quietly and just totally allow your chair to support you as you begin taking some deep breaths and then exhaling and releasing. Inhaling and then releasing. Find that place of stillness within you. That place of stillness that supports you when things feel difficult and when things feel wonderful. Breathe into that stillness now. And now just gently, if there's a place in your life where you feel that tension, a situation, a circumstance that brings up that tendency to close your heart, just get in touch with that for a moment. I'm going to work with the texture of that. As we feel that place, the feeling can be dark and hot and constricting. But today we're going to breathe right into that darkness, into the texture of that feeling. Breathe in to the heaviness. Allow it. Embrace it. And as you breathe into that, then when you breathe out, feel the cool, bright light breathing out. So you breathe in, feeling, you breathe out, radiating. You can even imagine that you're breathing out through every pore in your body. Just take a minute to experiment with that. Breathing in the heaviness, breathing out cool lightness from every pore of your body. So a third step now is as you breathe into your heavy, darker feeling, just bring to mind, maybe you know someone in particular, or maybe you just know that everyone is feeling that at some point. So let's just pick loneliness, isolation. We breathe in, knowing that there's many others experiencing this. And as we breathe out that cool, bright light, we send that blessing of light to everyone who's feeling that feeling. You don't need to think about particular circumstances. We're just working with texture and feeling. We're breathing in for ourselves and for everyone. And breathing out, sending that light and that love and softening the edges of the experience. You can even do this practice for people that you don't feel in alignment with their energy. People that you don't feel so good about when they're around you. People that we tend to judge. So we can even do this practice to breathe in that heavy feeling, to breathe out the light, love. It opens our heart. It opens the way for compassion. So I want you to take just a couple minutes now, without my voice, to just practice breathing in the discomfort, loss, uncertainty, anger, resistance. Embrace it, and then breathe out the light, the love, the peace that you wish for yourself and for all those who are suffering. As you work with this practice, you begin to establish a rhythm of breathing, a comfort as you breathe in the difficulty, and a peace as you breathe it out. We establish a connection of oneness, and that energy shifts ours and the energy of others. So I invite you to bring yourself gently back to this place, remembering that experience of giving and receiving, the trust in the divine experience, whatever it is. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes and wiggle your fingers and toes and come back to this place as we move forward. And bring the lights up. Everybody back? Well, good morning. Just come out of a restful place. So, the talk today is based on a book. Is anybody surprised? I guess all of you have heard me speak enough that you know that this is my MO. So, during our meditation time, we experienced that Tonglen. We experienced that giving and taking. It's a little different from most of our meditation practices, because most of the time we focus in and we go into the stillness and hopefully we connect with the higher energies. We're doing that, but we're also connecting with all. We're bringing in that experience of oneness. I chose to begin with the meditation so that you could have that experience, that visceral experience of what we're going to talk about today. We're exploring giving and receiving, and the healing powers, the specific healing power that giving and receiving brings in our lives. It's so often our response when we feel that we're in a place of lack or, anything challenging is to close ourselves down. And this practice helps us to reverse that habit. It helps us to open, as well as what we're going to talk about today. It's helping us to not disown our pain, but actually to own it and allow it to heal us. So, at a time in my life when I was facing what I felt was a threat to my well-being and my financial stability, Spirit began nudging me, and I kept hearing the instruction, give, give. It didn't make sense. It was counterintuitive to what I felt was my shrinking resources, So it perked me up. It made me listen. So as that nudge continued to give, I began looking at how I could give, whether it was with a prayer, whether it was with a financial gift, whatever resources I had, instead of looking where the lack was, that urge from Spirit to give, brought me to a place where I looked at what do I have to give. So then, of course, in my head, I start hearing the Bible verse, give and it will be given unto you. And as I looked up where that's set, there's often so much more around those little pieces that stay in our mind. And this is the so much more. It's from Luke chapter 6, verses 33 to 38. And it says this: if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. You can change that word. I'm not going to change the Bible, but sinners just doesn't resonate with me, okay? If you lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love your enemies, do good, and lend, expecting nothing in return. Your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, for He is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given unto you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put back into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. I liked the whole setting of that last. We always know the last statement, but I wanted to include the whole setting because it clarifies the expanse that our giving is expected. I don't know if that's the right word, to encompass, and it gives us more meat to that message. So, I'm walking this path. I see my circumstances in life changing. Spirit's telling me give, give, give. And this verse speaks to me. So you will not be surprised that as I walked this and listened, a book came into my life, and that book is 29 Gifts. 29 Gifts, How a Month of Giving Can Change Your Life, written by Cammie Walker. I can't do justice to how rich her story is, but I'm going to tell you her experience because I found it so inspiring from my own life. She was just married 1 month at the age of 33 when she was suddenly stricken with a severe and debilitating episode of MS. She was soon in and out of Los Angeles emergency rooms with alarming frequency. She battled this neurological condition that left her barely able to walk or perform simple daily tasks. It put enormous stress on her marriage, and it kept her from doing her work. So, can you imagine? Here she is in a whole new situation, starting out with hope in a new marriage, and all of a sudden, all the things that we rely on to know our value and worth, right? Her physical health, her financial support, all seemed to be threatened. She would say to herself, I'm going to end up in a wheelchair. My life is over. Why did this have to happen to me? I think that's a real human response that we would all have. But then, as a remedy to her condition, she met a woman, an African medicine woman. I think she actually lived in her building. Her name is Mbali Criazo, and she gave her a prescription. And that prescription was to give away 29 gifts in 29 days. By giving, Mbali told her, you are focusing on what you have to offer others, inviting more abundance into your life. This isn't a new thing to us Unity folks, but imagine at a time when she felt so limited, and so threatened to get this prescription. The teacher told her the gifts could be anything, but giving had to be both authentic and mindful. At least one gift needed to be something that she herself felt was scarce in her life. So the book goes through and tells you her different experiences as she sets out on this prescription, and you'll enjoy it. So she accepted the challenge, and she was amazed by what unfolded. She, at times, with this debilitation she had, couldn't even open her hands or summon the strength to walk across the room. But she took on this challenge anyway. And it didn't take away her disease, but what it did do was transform her from within. She does heal. The disease does heal to some extent. But she says this after 20 days of giving. I've come to believe that giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other. I now view giving and receiving as an exchange of energy, a universal transaction that each one of us takes part in over and over, moment to moment. I am also seeing that each exchange, whether I'm on the giving or the receiving end, is a divine experience, what my mother would call a God moment. During the moments I am offering or accepting a gift, part of me, that is true spirit, is connecting with the true spirit of another individual. And we are both, in that instant, connected to the divine force that created everything out of nothing, the light from which we all draw inspiration and energy. Her words reach to the heart of the experience of giving and receiving. The story details her experience, and it's full of inspiration. In the epilogue of the book, which was published in 2009, Cami shares that she continues to repeat the prescription given her by her African healer, and at that point of publication in 2009, she was in her 13th 29-day cycle of giving and receiving. Giving 29 gifts did not cure her multiple sclerosis, but there has been, at that point, there was no new disease progression. You see her in the book being able to do more, being able to walk, being able to begin to work again. She relied much less on medication, and she began to feel like she could be productive again. And then she began a website that you can look at called 29gifts.org, where people in every country of the world have taken on this challenge, and they share their stories. So the experience not only changed her life, but everyone's. And we've talked before, about the whole idea of embracing challenges and knowing that they are gifts to help us to grow. And she's a perfect example of this. So the African healer, Mbali Kriazo, who gave Cami this prescription for healing, she writes a letter that's included at the end of the book. And she brings up so many valuable points about the healing effect of conscious giving. I love that term, conscious giving. I think we all, give to others. We just do naturally. But this is a conscious choice. So she says that the same prescription was given to her when she was at a time in her life that felt like she was in a place of scarcity. She'd been laid off from a job she loved, and she feared she was going to lose everything. When this challenge was given to her, she said it seemed more like an act of recklessness on her part to give than a kindness to others. And I've experienced that. Have any of you? It's just like, oh my God, Spirit's telling me to give $10. It's my last $10. That seems reckless. Is that wise? Is that conscientious? But she was fearful of giving up what little she had, but she took the risk. And as she moved forward, she found that her heart opened, her faith grew, and she received many valuable lessons. She offers 9 lessons of what she received from this practice. Now, I want to share them with you. They might not be your experiences, but I think they're valuable to hear. Yours may be more profound because they're yours. But these are the 9 lessons that she condensed from her experience. First, when I give with an open heart, I receive the profound gift of humility. Second, gratitude keeps my heart open. Third, giving opens space for me to receive, because giving and receiving are part of the same naturally reciprocal process. Fourth, selflessness does not mean giving of myself to the extent that I am feeling depleted. When I give from a place of service, honesty, and fullness, I am left feeling revitalized. When I give from a place of responsibility and resentment, I negate the give and nothing changes. In fact, I'm often left feeling resentful and drained. I see a lot of you nodding your heads. When I'm immersed in self-centeredness as opposed to self-love, I become isolated and lonely and forget that I'm part of a greater whole. It's one of the things I loved about doing this practice was it's hard to put into words the reassurance of oneness, of feeling connected. 8. When I give, I am living the practice of being truly human. When I practice making mindful connections with others, my life feels meaningful, therefore it is. And 9. I rarely move back into a place of scarcity when I remember to give mindfully each day. My own experience with enacting this practice, following that nudge from Spirit I heard you, was that the wisdom offered here is such a gift, and it's immediate confirmation, as I just said, of that oneness and the unlimited love of the divine at work in our lives. Unlimited love of the divine. Few spiritual practices have brought me such immediate and impactful gratification and that feeling of rightness, that feeling of being aligned with the highest energies in the universe. As a further testament to the validity of all this, I found a lovely book called The Power of Giving by Azim Jamal and Harvey McKinnon. And they said this, the research on this is that giving enhances your immune system, lowers cholesterol levels, strengthens your heart, decreases the incidence of chest pains, and generally reduces stress. So there's scientific, physical evidence that this spiritual practice is helpful to us in so many ways. The 13th century Persian mystic Rumi told a story of a man who, after walking past a beggar, lifted his eyes to heaven and said, "Why, God, do you not do something for these people?" God replied, "I did do something. I made you." When Rumi wrote these words, he was addressing our ability to choose what we do, our ability to reach our potential by expressing our gifts. The conscious act of giving connects us with the infinite source of all and affirms to us that our gifts are there. They are within us. And our capacity to express them and to experience oneness is unlimited. It's a healing power that defies definition. It's not in the medical journals. This is a prescription of the Spirit. We don't often think about that resource. So my encouragement for you today is to move more deeply into the consciousness of your abundance within. You know, even if you don't feel it, know it. That's our faith guiding us. Every one of us is created out of the pure and perfect light of the divine. Every one of us possesses an infinite amount of gifts. And it's only in thinking that we don't stops the flow. So as you begin to practice, in your meditation, remind yourself. See that light flowing into you. Know that you were born of that light. And that light within you is your resource, your unlimited resource of gifts. You can offer a smile, a listening ear, a tissue, or a fortune. What matters is that you give mindfully and with an open heart and with trust, assured of your own abundance of spirit. And you will find, as I have, that you will receive abundantly. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So I say to you, Jai Bhagwan, strength to your spirit, and namaste.